Hi, I'm Lori. Welcome to our next chapter, Life After Corporate. My husband Ken and I retired from corporate life, and now we're building a freedom-first lifestyle through real estate and other projects while actually enjoying the life we worked for. We live in Boise, Idaho, but we also spend time in Seattle, where our yacht is kept in Elliott Bay. You'll see everyday life, hangar days, Marina weekends, tennis and cooking, behind the scenes of our projects, and plenty of cameos from Lexi, our Pekingese Chihuahua with a big personality. And you'll also meet my 95-year-old mother. I take her to Catholic Church in Glens Ferry twice a month, and she's one of the best parts of this chapter. If you love real-life lifestyle, routines, and a little adventure, subscribe and come along with us. So we're at the Boise airport again, but this time we're going to Seattle to the boat. And we also have Lexi with us. She travels with us on the plane, inside the cabin. We have her little carrier here, soft carrier that goes under the seat. She hates having her head completely enclosed. If we have a nice flight attendant, sometimes they'll let her head pop out for a little while, but she's a good little traveler. And if we're lucky, we might just get to go to the World Cup this week in Seattle. There's a lot of activity at the Boise airport today. In addition to the regular commercial jets, we saw Cessnas, Black Hawk helicopters, and an A-10 Warthog taxiing as we waited for our flight to leave. But before we boarded, we had to make one last pit stop in case Lexi needed to use the facilities. When you travel with pets, airports have special rooms where animals can relieve themselves. Complete with little red fire hydrants. We give Lexi a little chill pill before she flies, trazodone prescribed by her vet, and I think it's starting to kick in here. Lexi loves sitting on Ken's lap and looking out the window until she has to go under the seat for takeoff. She did go fully inside the carrier after that and pretty much napped the entire flight. It was a beautiful sunny day flying into Seattle, and we could see Elliott Bay Marina off to the right, where our boat Lady Georgia has a slip, before we turn south to the airport flying over downtown Seattle. We keep a car in Seattle, so we picked it up and headed to the boat. Along the way, we passed the Starbucks Center building, the T-Mobile Park, where Seattle Mariners play, and Lumen Field, where the Seattle Seahawks, Seattle Sounders, and Seattle Reign play. Seattle's hosting the FIFA World Cup soccer matches for the first time ever, June 15th through July 6th. At last, we get to the Elliott Bay Marina, which is just a slice of heaven on Puget Sound, overlooking the downtown Seattle skyline and surrounding islands. Our boat was previously in a temporary slip for a few years in South Lake Union, which is just north of downtown within walking distance of the Space Needle. It's a seaplane base for Kenmore Air, so seaplanes take off and land in the middle of the lake, which is so fun to watch. The lake is intimate, with lush green hills surrounding it, and from our slip, we looked up on Queen Anne Hill, where my mother grew up. She's a UW alumni. Before Ken moved to Boise 20 years ago, he lived in Seattle and kept a 30-foot Catalina sailboat in Elliott Bay for 8 years. After he moved to Boise, he sold the sailboat and bought in with his dad and stepmother to buy Lady Georgia together with us as 10% owners. Over the years, we bought them out and now get to experience the joys and the pains of owning a 66-foot boat. The majority of the time we were partners with Ken's parents, the boat was kept in Anacortes, Washington. 2.5 hours north of Seattle and the gateway to the San Juan Islands, which are absolutely spectacular. We took the boat many times to places like Friday Harbor, Roach Harbor, the Canadian Gulf Islands, and Victoria, British Columbia. In 2024, we cleared a 10-year wait list for a permanent slip in Elliott Bay, which is on Puget Sound. Here you see the main salon. We love having the boat in Seattle since it's only an hour flight from Boise, and there are so many fun things to do. We now offer charters of Lady Georgia through Anacortes Yacht Charters, starting either in Seattle or Anacortes, or for University of Washington Husky games. I'll put a link in the description box if you're interested in checking out more photos of Lady Georgia. Right next to Elliott Bay Marina is Pier 91, otherwise known as Smith Cove Cruise Terminal. This time of year in the summer, it's extremely busy with at least 1 or 2 new ships docked every day as people embark here to cruise to Alaska. The ships are truly magnificent to watch, and it becomes a happy hour event every day to watch them leave. This ship is the Celebrity Edge, which is the sister ship to the ship Ken and I took on an 11-night Mediterranean cruise last September to Greece, Italy, and Turkey, called the Ascent. The bright orange platform on the side of the ship is called the Magic Carpet. It's a movable deck that travels up and down the side of the ship. Depending on which deck it's on, it can be used as a bar and specialty restaurant area, outdoor seating, a tender boarding platform when the ship anchors offshore, and just a scenic place to stand out over the water. The surprise ship that we didn't expect to see on the other side of the cruise ship dock was Mark Zuckerberg's yacht. It's called the Launchpad, a huge 387-foot superyacht widely reported to be worth $300 million. The larger white ship facing us is its support ship, Wingman. Wingman is a 262-foot support vessel designed to carry toys and equipment such as helicopters, tender boats, personal watercraft, and heavy gear with an onboard crane for loading things into the water. This video footage is kind of like an optical illusion because the Launchpad is much longer than Wingman, but you just can't tell that from this perspective. The city really comes alive at night. It's just magical to look at. You can see the Space Needle north of downtown and the famous Ferris wheel, and then the sports stadium parks at the south end of downtown. One of the coolest things about Seattle's Stadium District at night is how the skyline changes with the lighting. T-Mobile Park and Lumen Field can be lit in different colors, so on game nights or for special events, the whole area feels like it's dressed for the occasion. Why don't you tell them what we're doing today, honey?
Well, Lori and I were lucky enough to score some tickets to the World Cup match here in Seattle. So we are headed in an Uber to Seattle Stadium to watch a matchup between Belgium and Egypt. And we're looking forward to it. It's a sold-out house.
We're going to have our friends with us, Sue and Tim, so it should be a good day.
Yeah.
Here's our destination today for the match, Lumen Field. But during the FIFA World Cup soccer games, it's referred to as Seattle Stadium because FIFA doesn't allow stadium branding. We took an Uber, and here we are driving through the Stadium District to get as close to Seattle Stadium as we can before getting out and walking. Our Uber driver was from Kenya and was fantastic. He even saved us some time with a better drop-off location closer to the stadium. It was so interesting to see all the people walking to the match, all decked out either in the jersey colors of the two countries playing today, Egypt and Belgium, or they just wore their favorite team or player's colors. There were World Cup personnel everywhere, available to help with questions and navigation, as well as police presence, which was really reassuring. Ken's talking on the phone with his friends Tim and Sue, letting them know where to rendezvous to meet us. The people watching was pretty good. Tim is Ken's fraternity brother from Stanford and lives in Seattle with his wife Marina. Sue and Ken went to high school together at Heritage High School in Littleton, Colorado. She's an attorney and lives in Seattle now, so we love getting to see her when we're in town. This is the area outside of where you get in line to enter the stadium. It was a bit of a cluster because it's just thousands of people converging to get far in enough where you can get in line. But people were very nice and cooperative, and we finally made it in. There were about 72,000 people in attendance, and the air was electric.
Please rise if you're able for the playing of the national anthem of Belgium. For the playing of the national anthem of Egypt.
In this match, Egypt is wearing white and Belgium is in red.
A local guy, or he's out of San Jose?
Egypt made Seattle World Cup history by scoring first in the 19th minute of the match, the first World Cup goal ever scored in Seattle. Belgium was down 1-0 when Romelu Lukaku came off the bench in the 66th minute. And almost instantly, within about 20 seconds, his presence in the box changed the game. He didn't get credit for the goal, but he pressured the defense and helped force an own goal by Egypt's Mohamed Hani, tying the match 1-1. Even though Belgium pushed on for a winner, Egypt held on. So Seattle's first World Cup match ended in a dramatic draw. This was my first soccer match ever, and I can definitely say that I'm a fan. Since we knew we'd be battling 72,000 people to get out of the stadium, we decided to hit the club room to let the crowd die down before we left and have some more time to catch up with our friends. There was a little entertainment as well, a DJ and a few people out on the dance floor, and even Belgian folk dancers. We had such a great time, and by the time we headed out, we got this last shot of the entire stadium completely emptied out. As we walked back through the stadium district, we saw the celebrations continuing and even a little street soccer play. These guys are pretty good. Then it was back to the boat for another great sunset overlooking Bainbridge Island and the silhouette of the Olympic Mountains beyond. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.